conservative,
Christian, mother, wife,
Air Force veteran,
gun rights advocate.
This is Stacy on the Right. Here's your host, Stacy Washington.
Thank you for being with us this evening. Amazingly, this is hour 3. So let's get into it. We are welcoming in Brayden Myers, contributor with Young Voices. You can find out all about Young Voices by going to joinyv.org. Brayden, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a privilege to be here.
I am glad that you're here, and I know that, you know, there's a lot going on around the country, and you writing and commenting on these things to give us different perspectives with which to be informed, and also, most importantly, to turn issues over, right? You turn an issue over in your mind, and then maybe you take it to a conversation with someone else, and you think through, you know, what do I think about this? What do I disagree? So it's good to have you writing and then joining us to talk. You have a recent piece over at Real Clear Markets. Tell us what you're writing about here.
Absolutely. So I've done a lot of work in tax policy, and this bill in Missouri caught my eye. It's Senate Bill 143. It was passed on July 14th, so pretty recently, and what it's doing is eliminating the ability for localities in the state of Missouri to impose licensing tax on youth-owned businesses.
So licensing taxes on youth-owned businesses. Now, if people are in other states, they might be thinking, you know, I don't know if this is actually something that's prevalent. It's a problem. Tell us why this is important.
Yes. So I've tried to start a business multiple times in my younger days. You know, my father was in the military. I've traveled to all sorts of states, and in every one of them that I've lived in, from Virginia to Nevada, trying to start a business meets a long line of barriers, to include financial barriers, paperwork barriers, and to add on to that, the fact that in many places children can't own property or anything of that sort. So yes, this is an issue in all sorts of states, but Missouri is paving the way to clear these barriers and let the youth innovate.
So not being able to own property, some people would say, oh, you know, that's totally appropriate. I mean, how can children own property? But what you're talking about is if a child, so anyone under the age of majority, the age of 18, if any one of those individuals were to have an idea, create something, but they wouldn't be able to own it.
Yes, that's most certainly a part of the issue. So the main thing we're discussing is the ability for the youth to avoid a lot of licensing burdens. But there can absolutely be issues with ownership and having to go through the child's parents and all of these sorts of things. Yes.
All right. So licensing, and this is something that's going on in Missouri, but what is your hope? Your piece is entitled "America's Youth Should Be Free to Innovate Without Barriers." So you want to see the same kind of legislation that's percolating here move throughout the country?
I absolutely would. So we've seen a lot of states adopt what we call lemonade stand laws. And lemonade stand laws are focused on protecting youth who are opening these typically smaller food service businesses like lemonade stands from having to go through the registrations and licensing process that could entirely discourage these businesses. Missouri is taking this one step further. They are absolutely exempting youth, no question, from these licensing fees. And what that's going to do is that is going to create a generation of upcoming leaders who are coming in with new business experience and allowed to harness new ideas now and going into the future.
Okay, that's fantastic. And innovating without barriers, basically it's a deregulatory position that you're taking.
Yes, it absolutely is. Especially for the youth, these barriers can stop young innovators in their track, right? A $50 to $80 fee, which I think is about the average in Missouri, can be, well, for many adults, that's a sizable amount of money. That's just something that a lot of youth don't have access to. And you put that with having to fill out paperwork on the federal, state, and local level, all of the applications and requirements and inspections, and it is a complete damper on the ability of youth to innovate. And by passing this bill, I think Missouri is setting the stage to clear those barriers.
All right, so then you're talking about a 20-year-old who'd been discouraged by the challenges of navigating the complex web of business regulations. This is yourself. You can attest to the benefits of this legislation for young and teenage entrepreneurs. So how prevalent is it that children under the age of 18 would start a business that would actually be benefited by this?
It's incredibly prevalent. I mean, you know as well as I do that some of the most creative ideas come from our youngest generation. Nearly 1/4 of people in the 18 to 24-year-old group identify as entrepreneurs. We can guess that it's very similar for 16 to 18, because again, those are ages where people are trying to build something for themselves and put their creative energy into making something meaningful. By encouraging people to start before they turn 18, we're allowing them to gain more experience and learn more.
And then the end result of this is actually beneficial to our entire society. You have businesses that are thriving. You have young people who are able to navigate the business world more effectively. And you have a kind of overall sense that, I don't want to say all is right with the world, but it is nice to know that teenagers are able to, start a business and profit from it without being burdened by regulations that really kind of serve no purpose, if you will.
Absolutely. I mean, most of these regulations do very little to actually protect consumers. And for consumer protections, we naturally have the same legal standard that will hold any business to, regardless of the age of the founder. But by reducing these licensing fees and paperwork burdens, yes, we're expecting more businesses, and we're expecting, even for those who don't go into business, I mean, we're creating a group of college students who will come out with 5 years of real-world experience, who will graduate ready to either start another business or join the workforce and contribute there. And it's creating a culture of excellence and success that will, yes, you said it perfectly, go through every aspect of our society.
Well, that's pretty exciting. Anything else you'd like us to know about your article that you've written or your position here?
I just would like to reemphasize, I think this is a hugely untapped area in the regulatory discussion. There are arguments on both sides of regulation, and I most certainly am usually opposed to regulation, but especially in this case, we have a really unique moment and a really unique opportunity to unleash innovation and let our youth drive our society forward, and I think we need to seize it.
Well, I couldn't agree more. The article is over at realclearmarkets.com. It's linked in the show notes over at stacyontheright.com. Thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight to discuss your work, and thank you for thinking these things through. Really cool to hear your personal experience woven into this issue. And I live in Missouri, so I'm glad to see us leading on deregulation. It's a nice turn of events.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Have a great evening. Good to talk to you tonight.